What's good, YouTube? It's your main man, AB the Hero, back again with another video. Today's video, we got to talk about body language because it never lies. And we're going to watch a clip from your main man, my main man, Isaiah Thomas. Not IT from the Hornets, but Isaiah Thomas from the Detroit Pistons. In most of the clips that we've talked about when it comes to this body language don't lie series, we talked about people who are being deceptive, people who are expressing feelings negatively about people and all this stuff. But I found this clip of Isaiah Thomas talking about Michael Jordan, LeBron James, a very controversial topic, but I think that this gives us a glimpse at the body language from a different perspective, right? Not the deceptive perspective, but also the affirmative perspective, right? I'm confident in my answers, and I will also give you some small little tales and things that I caught from him too, that shows that while he might be hella confident, he might have some chinks in that armor. Let's get into it.
AB the Hero, back at it, baby.
First off, appreciate everybody who's slamming the like button. It's much appreciated because that boy be on my back. You feel me? Y'all help him get off. Now, we're gonna look at this clip here. This is Isaiah Thomas on First Take, okay? And so what we're gonna do is this first section here, we're gonna watch Isaiah Thomas talk about LeBron, talk about Jordan, and what we're gonna be looking for is establishing some norms, right? We want to see how he talks in general about this, pick out some patterns. What you typically want to do is you don't want to look at one nonverbal response. You want to look at clusters of responses. So we're going to try to get a baseline for him here. And then the key point is we're going to watch him listen to Stephen A talk, right? Because oftentimes, I say this a lot, you can catch the body language and the nonverbal communication without the person even saying anything. Just listening to them, listen to somebody, and their physical responses to that tells us some things, and then we'll listen to him talk, right, and really get in his bag, and you'll see the difference between our baseline, and you'll see towards the end when we get into it. So let's get into this video. This might be a long one, so if you need a drink or use the bathroom, popcorn, all that, go do it. Let's get into this here. Isaiah Thomas, Detroit Pistons. Is LeBron the greatest all-around player ever? What do you think, Isaiah?
Let me be clear when I say this. Michael Jordan, what he did from a marketing and basketball standpoint for our game of basketball is immeasurable. And we never thought that we would ever see anybody do that again. But what LeBron James has done from a marketing and an impact standpoint in terms of financial dollars coming in, he and Jordan stand alone in terms of improving our game and making it possible that we can have these jobs to talk about them.
So listen, so confident in the way that he talks about this, eloquent, fluid, shoulders drawn back, chin up, really is speaking with conviction and everything that he's saying right now, right? There was one small tale that we won't get into right now, but we'll keep going.
So we thank Jordan and we thank LeBron, but when it comes to the measurement and the criteria, you know, LeBron James and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar are in categories by themselves.
All right, so I'm not going to go back, but I want to get you to take a look at, and as we move forward, how many times Isaiah Thomas licks his lips and when he does it. All right. So like right now, my shit dry. So y'all gonna see me licking my all through this video, but watch him and see how many times and when he does it. That's something there. If you go back to what we just watched, you'll see that he does it twice. And both of those times when he does it, it's in reference to LeBron. Because that's the baseline of the video, I'm not going to harp on it too much, but we're going to listen to Stephen A talk for a while, and then we'll kind of get into it. Now, here's the stage that I need to set for you. And this is why listening to him hear Stephen A. Smith is important, right? Because when we're thinking about body language and how it does not lie, we have to understand that there are certain factors that affect the way you communicate via your nonverbal communications. Okay, so for here, there's three main ways that people communicate: verbal communications, paralinguistics, and then nonverbal. Okay, verbal communications, us talking. Paralinguistics are the sounds that you make, oh, all of the things that are not words but are sounds, and then nonverbal. All right, what affects the nonverbal communication? Sometimes it is your emotional response, how you feel, if you're stressed by something, if you're comfortable by something, all of that, right? But what affects whether or not you're stressed and comfortable? Sometimes it's the implications of what's happening, right? If people find out you're lying or misconstrue what you're saying, that might stress and tie you up. Who you're talking to, is this a superior? Is this somebody beneath you? This is your mom, your dad? Is this stuff socially acceptable? All of these things can make you act and twitch and do things funny. So it's important to get a baseline to see how you're responding in a certain situation. So as we begin to look for those clusters of behaviors and nonverbal communications, we'll be able to tell what's going on with you and have a clear picture. So I say all that to say, on this show, you have First Take, Stephen A. Smith. The world is watching. Isaiah Thomas understands how many people think that he's crazy for riding with LeBron the way that he does. Stephen A. Smith, the bloviator of bloviators, is about to get on his neck. So this is a situation where if he was to get a little discomfort, stressed a bit, it would make sense to do that here. Watch his response to Stephen A. Smith in all of this conversation.
We've had this discussion before, Isaiah Thomas, and I got to tell you this.
We get to
Before
smile.
I go into my position about this publicly against you, of all people, okay? I will ask you this question. Do you have
Still
LeBron
confident
over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Not until he passes him in the scoring title, but as an all-around player, yes. And by the time that LeBron James is finished, see, we're measuring LeBron James now, and he's still in his basketball playing career. But we can safely say that by the time he's done playing, he may have passed Kareem. When he passes Kareem in scoring, you have to anoint him as the GOAT.
Yeah, as the GOAT. So we saw that once again, more confidence, right? That's a tough question. Well, obviously Stephen A. is trying to get somewhere, and he's hitting him with the chest. I'm leaning forward on you. I'm talking my talk. Let's keep going.
Well, I don't, and I won't. Let me get that out the way first. That's number one. You know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
I'll let you speak. It's my turn now. It's my turn now, Isaiah. Here's the deal.
Stephen A.,
Here's the deal.
Can I hide under the table? Can I hide under the table?
No, you cannot.
He's chuckling here. You think he really want to hide under the table?
No, you cannot.
Let's see.
Okay. The reason I asked you that question, Isaiah Thomas, here's the reason I asked you that question. Because if numbers are not what we're talking about per se, because if numbers were what we're talking about, then there's nothing to discuss. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 19-time All-Star, 6-time champion, 6-time league MVP. The only individual with one unstoppable move in the history of the sport that still hasn't been figured out. Whenever he could come on the court right now and do sky hooks, and he's
watching Isaiah Thomas
trying to do a sky
stone face
right
basically.
Now. And the man's damn near 70 years old. The point that I'm trying to make to you is this: when you look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and what he brings to the table, and he's retired as the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, where he still stands, numbers-wise, and you consider his success
stone
at UCLA
face.
And in a high school Powell Memorial, New York City, all of that other stuff. I mean, just the greatest. If you're looking
acknowledgement.
at it, but we do have something called the eye test. We can look at it and we see
eyes open up. Hold up, eye test
that you pointed out about LeBron James can't be dismissed. Because Jordan didn't concern himself with doing all the things that LeBron does. Here's where my attitude with you comes into play.
Still stone face. Here's where my attitude comes in. So this is a direct. I'm coming at you. Most of the time, that would trigger some type of, my man is still confident and stone faced
to
on it.
prosperity that was traveled. I can't believe you.
That's the first time we see him break kind of out of his and resettle himself. Stephen A. Smith acknowledges the road that MJ traveled being one of the signifiers of his greatness.
You diminish it the way that you do. LeBron ain't had to go against there was no semblance of the Bad Boys. Even the Bad Boys Part 2 with the New York Knicks, with Mason and Oakley and Ewan and all of these brothers before Charles Smith.
It damn near looks like a picture. He's so just here.
Being able to make a layup
Stephen A. all over the place.
Okay, in a conference finals against the Bulls. Before all of that happened, the New York Knicks was Part 2 of the Bad Boys. Y'all were the original Bad Boys. You talked about it. You know what y'all brought to the table.
We
and
finally
what
got
Jordan had to go through. We know what rules were implemented to try to stymie what the hell y'all were doing, for crying out loud. The game, the Bad.
All right, now he finally breaks here. He says, when he says, listen to what Stephen A. says, and then makes him finally break.
What y'all brought to the table and what Jordan had to go through. We know what rules were implemented to try to stymie what the hell y'all were doing, for crying out loud. The game, the Bad Boys, are
he says, you, the Bad Boy. So he starts talking about Isaiah Thomas, and it's the first moment that we get Isaiah Thomas to start to break that firm stance that he was in.
Responsible for some of the rules changes.
Here's the interesting part, is he doesn't come back to where he was at before. He sits up higher, neck up higher. He's coming, oh yeah, keep talking that. I got something for you. So this is important. All of that stuff he said, we seen Isaiah Thomas be stone-faced in his answers, right? I can damn near tell you, based off of his reaction to these certain points, what the things that Isaiah is going to come back and attack, just based off of watching him maneuver in that segment. Watch this.
Took place. And the way the NBA felt it was a priority to sort of change the complexion and make the game prettier, because y'all will go into an arena as the Bad Boys, proud of it. We gonna shut you down. We gonna do whatever it takes to beat you. You ain't getting on us. We got The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and in the damn docuseries, you got John Sally saying we had to get him before he took off, because he wasn't human. He wasn't human. We had to get him before he took off. This is the kind of stuff that was said. And so I'm saying to you, we got a guy like Michael Jordan, who's a 6-time champion, unblemished in NBA Finals appearances. We got LeBron, who's lost 6 NBA Finals. Okay, all of them weren't his fault. Most of them weren't his fault. But some of them he was directly responsible for, or at least a couple of them, when you, especially against Dallas. So we got to look at that. We got to look at the fact that, again, who are you going up against? What era are we playing in? Okay? And
head nod, big head nod right there. Who are you going up against? Right? So we saw two things. He talked about the Pistons and all of those guys. And he said, who are you going up against? Big head nods. Now watch.
Look at it from that perspective. And I'm saying to you, Isaiah, of all people, the face of the Bad Boys. I mean, how could you sit up there?
Face of the Bad Boys brings a smile back out.
James never had to go through somebody like y'all to get to where he is. Still got more finals losses than wins, all right? And sit up there and say, he is the GOAT. I know as an all-around talent. I'm not questioning that. That's why I got him number 2 all time on my Mount Rushmore. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, Zeke, you do know that's an insult to the LeBron James kid, right? I mean, my God, how dare me? In the history of basketball, I only have one player above you in the history of the sport. And the Rich Pauls of the world
could care less.
Will act like I'm insulting.
Let's go. Let's keep going.
I didn't. So you should be much higher, but this particular debate here,
let me see if I can help you with your understanding of
let's go.
Okay, so let me see if I can help you with your understanding.
So now, watch. We saw the first time we seen my man Isaiah Thomas talk. Very still. Posture was there. Not too much. We can't see his hands and things, but we didn't see a lot of personal gestures. We didn't see him trying to pacify and touching his face and all of this stuff. We didn't even get a lot of damn, I can we didn't get a lot of illustrators as well from him. But now let's watch this part, right? Because we saw as Stephen A talked, we seen him get in and start moving and stuff. Let's see where if there's a difference.
Understanding of where I'm coming from.
Yes.
Because what you just
Yes.
the oral history you just gave, it did not compute with the highlights that y'all
We just
showing.
seen him lick his lips like 2 or
Okay?
3 times.
The highlights that y'all were showing of Michael Jordan playing against and beating, the people in the 90s. Michael Jordan didn't beat Larry Bird. You showed Michael Jordan going between his legs one time in the highlights, against Larry Bird. And that was the game he got 63.
That's when he dropped 63 on Bird. Yes.
But if memory serves me correct,
Eyes closed,
they
talking
got
to him.
swept. No, not lost. They got swept. Okay.
All of these illustrators, no, not lost. He got swept. This is he is speaking with conviction right now.
His team and Michael Jordan.
LeBron's gotten swept too now.
Pardon? Who got swept?
LeBron has gotten swept before.
Okay,
yes, he's got swept before.
Let me get to that, okay? So Michael Jordan in the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
He never won. And he never beat Larry Bird. He never beat Magic and Kareem. I'm going to say that again. He never beat Magic and Kareem. Now, truth be told, I beat Magic and Kareem, and I beat Larry Bird and his Celtics.
What I'm saying is, look at the illustrators. Look how much more animated he is in this part of the conversation. Look at his whole tongue is out of his mouth right now, right? Typically, what that means and why I had y'all watch it, and I accidentally paused it right here, is when you were in like elementary school and you were a kid, and then you would do something and get away with it. You stick. That's what happens, right? Subconsciously, a lot of times when you see people who are talking that talk, and they know they got something, the tongue just slip out of their mouth. It's the same thing. It's just the same as like, I have, boo boo, I got you type of thing. So that's an interesting quirk to have pop up here, because it could mean one or two things. It could mean, I know I'm killing this and I'm literally licking my lips. I'm chomping at the bit right now. Or that could mean I'm lying. I don't believe this shit, but I got a leg up on you and you can never figure that out. So it's an interesting little piece right there.
Michael Jordan never beat those teams. In the 90s.
Another one.
In the 90s, Michael Jordan beat, he beat Barkley, he beat Karl Malone, he beat Stockton, he beat Gary Payton, he beat Sean Kemp. Those are the people that he beat. The way y'all try to tell the story is that
all over the screen. Hey, Bobby.
Boston. He came through, L.A. Now, he beat the Detroit Pistons at the end. And then he went on to have his career.
Hold on, y'all in. Whoa. I don't want to hear that about the Detroit Pistons at the end.
Let's talk. I love it. To me, I watch this and I don't need to play this whole thing. This video getting long already. But can you see the difference? Can you see where the body language plays a role here, right? We're not looking at this and saying, look at Isaiah Thomas being super deceptive. Oh my God, he lying and all of this stuff. But we seeing this from a standpoint that there's a certain level of comfortableness that people end up talking with when they're confident about what they're saying, right? There's a certain level of stressors that end up happening with people when they're not confident, right? So we might watch some clips when people are what I would quote unquote say being a bit deceptive, and you start to see them rub their face and you start to see them get itchy and start to tat and all of this stuff, and you think like, man, well, maybe it's just something going on in the room, right? But we can look here, and when he is confident, you don't see none of that. It don't pop up. It don't happen, right? I'm cool. I'm comfortable right now. I'm not nothing is I don't need to wipe my mouth off. I don't need to. I'm just talking that talk, right? The only time we see him even come up here is when there was something that came up. Because oftentimes when you put your hand over your mouth, that means, oh, I got something I want to say, but I'm waiting, right? So he mentioned Isaiah Thomas and the bad boy, and he went, And he came right back to it the first time he got an opportunity to talk. So these are just small things to look at. We'll watch this for a little bit longer and we'll wrap this video up.
Y'all were in the conference finals. Y'all were in the conference finals when he beat you. It wasn't like y'all were a has-been. Y'all were in the conference finals.
I am not dismissing that. I am saying they beat us and he beat us and they swept us. But the way the story has been told has been, y'all put Michael Jordan in the 80s with Magic, Bird, and you take the Pistons, and y'all, I don't even know what y'all do with the Pistons. Y'all don't even talk about us like we were in the 80s. But hold on, wait, not you.
I don't know. I do.
Not you.
All right,
not
okay.
You, but it goes Magic, Bird, Jordan, and all I'm saying is in the 80s. What I remember in the 80s, it was Philadelphia with Dr. J, Magic, Kareem, Bird, Michael Jordan. He was a non-factor in the 80s in terms of his basketball team. Now wait a minute. Let me give him his credit.
Give him his credit.
Let me give him his credit because he was MVP. The best year that he had was he was the MVP of the league and the Defensive Player of the Year. I believe that was in '88.
Yes.
All right. So you saw him look up, right? That's oftentimes what people do when you're trying to channel something. You're looking up to see where you recall. It's like neurolinguistics, right? And so what that means is your brain is split into two hemispheres, right? And so if I remember correctly, let me check my. Typically, when most human beings, when you look off to the right, that's when you're trying to fabricate some things and you're trying to like, oh, let me put this thing together in my head. You look off to the left and typically you're trying to recall something. You're trying to access some memories and all of that stuff. So that's interesting that he kind of glanced up because that shows you another element of when we talk about nonverbal communication.
We beat them 4-1. I'm gonna say that again. 4-1. They won one game.
I respond?
Please go ahead.
May I respond?
And you chuckled on him.
My response.
Please go ahead. Go ahead. This is all right. That's all I got for y'all. Do you see what I'm saying? To me, this is just such an interesting example of when we talk about nonverbal communication, right? When we say body language don't lie, you can see the two different Isaiah Thomases as we watch this clip, right? You see him trying to be very poised, and I'm going to just give you some information and some facts, and you see him get raw, real, and uncut with him, bro. We beat him 4-1 in his best season. He was the MVP, defensive champion, and we dog walked him. And you chuckling all over the place. It's just to me, this is a great example of stuff that we talk about on this channel a lot. Shemaine Man, Avi the Hero. I appreciate y'all tapping in. If you want more content like this, y'all know what to do. Hit the sub button, all of that jazz. We out.
The Hero. No, not peace. Plus one, triple beats. We out.
There it is.